Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor from IamTomTaylor.com.
I'm Pete Mummert from PeteRemembers.com.
I'm Gerry Porter from Hazelshould.com.
And I'm Scott Rosann of Walking Around New York City.
Oh, you're that one. Excellent.
Or of ScottRosann.com.
Oh.
Wow.
You walk and have a .com.
Thanks for being on.
Yeah, welcome.
I barely have a .com. But I do a lot of walking.
There you go.
Anyway, thanks for having me.
Oh, totally. This will be fun. We're in the middle of some cool minutes right now. Like minute 36, which begins with Sallah making excuses for why he's working for the Nazis, and it ends with him telling Indy that he knows a guy.
One of the things that I like about this minute, just Sallah gets right into it, and, you know, the Nazis are cheap bastards. It's essentially what he says. Quote, they hire only strong backs and pay pennies for them.
Right.
And, you know, one of the things that's great is Salah's indignant because he actually isn't being, it's not that it's the Nazis. It's not that the Third Reich is actually on the brink of, world domination. He's upset because they're not even using him for his skills. You know, they don't even know that he's a good digger. They just are like, well, I have a strong back, and that's it.
It's a Pharaohic level of ignorance of his craft.
Right.
Or so he says.
Right, and that which Pete, I thought of you, sort of our resident biblical scholar. I was under the assumption that now that's sort of a myth that the pyramids and the pharaohs, all that the pyramids were built by quote slave labor, and that's supposed to be a fallacy. Is that true? Does that?
I think the latest idea is that the pyramids were actually built by highly paid, or at least well-paid laborers.
Oh, really?
But if you want to check out our website, IndianaJonesMinute.com, we have an article up about that.
That's bizarre.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it was Harvard Magazine had an article that came out, and actually, I'll quote it right now. It was. I told you I'm starting this minute.
Don't leave us hanging.
Yeah. It was quote.
Credit card receipts or something.
Egyptian society was organized somewhat like a feudal system in which almost everyone owed service to a lord. The Egyptians called this back, which is spelled B-A-K. Everybody owed back of some kind to people above them in the social hierarchy, but it does not really work as a word for slavery. Even the highest official owed back.
Weird.
So, there you go, Harvard Magazine. I mean, no one is going to argue with that.
Well, for the next 50 years or something.
Yeah. And I know. Indiana Jones teaches at Yale. Whatever.
He does. Or Marshall College right down the street. Well, the main
3 cheers for Marshall.
Yeah, there you go. Let's ask Scott. We've had this running debate on the show, which is stupid because it's not even a debate, but where would you say Indiana Jones's university is, or college?
God, that's stupid.
Sorry.
I believe I want to say that it's in Connecticut.
You do want to say that, don't you? And do you know why you want to say that?
And that's
because it's
yes,
true.
because I'm from Connecticut. Oh,
so
okay.
am I.
Oh, no. Are you really?
Yeah. I knew you looked familiar. I knew it.
Whereas the two
From walking
Californians
around Connecticut.
are convinced that it's in the Bay Area.
No.
So wait, so that's confirmed
Well,
Connecticut.
Gerry and
Is
Pete-
that what's our canonical source?
Our canonical source is okay. If you want to be strictly canonical, like from the film, there's actually no evidence that it's in New England, and his trip, according to the map, starts in San Francisco. However,
Right.
in the original novelization, which I have in my hand, and in the screenplay, they both say Connecticut, New
Uncanon.
England, Northeast, etc. So to heck with you guys.
I did read something in preparation for this. I began to glance back at some of the books you can read on the subject, and Lucas's notes, those handwritten, that lovely handwriting he's got, say something about Indiana Jones as an archaeologist and anthropologist in a college back east or an eastern college. It says something like that. So he either was romanticizing, eastern colleges, or I always got the sense that people who grew up in California, because they say back east, whether they have a past in the East or not, tend to romanticize like, oh, that's the place where the smart people are from. And
Right. Or
so
like
I got
it's
the
the
sense
birthplace
that
of humanity, like back east where we came from.
Technically, Stockton is back east from the San Francisco Bay Area.
that's a good point.
Yeah, like half court shot Pete. We call him half court shot Pete.
That's where they filmed the exterior university scenes.
That's fascinating. Anyway, what kind of fruit is Indy cutting?
Oh, that's an excellent question. I wondered. What? I mean, now there's going to be an argument about, it looks like a Bosque pear.
It looks like a pear. It also sort of looks like a half limey lemon or something. It's hard to tell. But the way he's cutting it, I'm like, is he just like skinning it, like just cutting the peel, or is he trying to cut it in half, which I would expect from like a citrus thing or something? I don't know.
He's very cavalier with that
Doesn't
knife.
seem at all interested in the fruit. He just It's as if he was doing it with no knife, and he had been sort of doing some business, some scene work,
Exactly, a
and
little business.
some physical work, and then they put that in his hand, and he's just like, "What do I do with this?"
I'm gonna kill
Well,
it with this knife.
speaking of doesn't care at all, I love that entire. There's one shot where you just see Salah's kid, and he's spinning like a little toy on and he couldn't be more just done with life.
Wait,
He's
who,
just,
Indy or
like,
Salah?
over it and blank. No, Salah's kid.
To the kid, yeah.
The kid he's on the table. They're talking about the Ark of the Covenant, and he's looking like, I'm gonna go in that little room over there, climb on top of my bunk bed, and jump off with a rope.
I have 20 brothers and sisters, so no one will know. It'll be weeks before they notice I'm gone.
Dad keeps saying I'm better than the U.S. Marines, but I don't believe it.
It's just empty.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is crazy. And
He's
then
got a little
he,
top or something that I'm sort of scrolling through it now. He's got like a little he's got like some sort of a little toy that looks like the least amusing toy ever presented to a child, and he's just glancing off on the side.
Dad, will you please notice me? Please? I have a top. I love you.
Not now, Junior.
You know what he is? He's probably sitting there wondering, like, what if I'm not going to grow up to be the best digger?
There's a lot of pressure in this town.
Yeah, in
to be
Cairo.
the best digger possible. Oh, we said a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was just last week. Oh, I think it was like the last minute. We said that not only is this perhaps the Star Wars guys, the Star Wars Minute guys were saying that this is probably Harrison Ford's best performance of his career as Indiana Jones, and in this movie specifically. And then
I thought you meant the scene.
Well, not in this scene specific, because I got to say that laugh that he gives over Belloc,
Right.
is probably the worst acting of his entire career. It's a really bad laugh. It's a
I had
really
that
bad,
written down, too.
obviously.
I
fake
had that
laugh.
as a note. I had Indy thinks the mispronunciation of Belloc is way too funny.
Or even if
He
it
just
is
thinks
funny,
that's hilarious.
even if it is funny, like I can see him like sort of like Jesus Christ, I got to deal with Belloc again. I'm just gonna laugh about it. But The laugh itself is so like, I'm not really laughing. I'm acting right now.
Right.
That's bothered me though for 30 years. Like I keep thinking, is he being a jerk to Sala? Like it's Belloc,
You dumb idiot.
moron.
There is a lot about this that disturbs me as well, because had Sala, in all of their years of knowing each other, had he never even heard Indy mention Belloc?
Oh, that's
this
a
is
good
like
point.
his arch enemy, and he's if he's going to his really plum job as the best digger in Cairo, paid handsomely by the Germans, and they keep mentioning, Balosh, get Balosh, and it's like he has no, he has no clue. There's a guy up on the hill that he's probably seen before. The guy's probably snatched artifacts right out of his hands and run off. And he has no idea who he is when they mention him.
He's probably wearing a
It's very
different
strange.
hat, so you can forgive him for not recognizing it.
Oh, maybe he has a black suit.
Well,
He's all in
I
black
wondered,
sometimes.
I didn't think he was necessarily bad acting so much as I'm with Pete. He's just oddly patronizing.
Yeah,
And-
it's like he's correcting Sala and not the Germans who Sala got the bad pronunciation from.
And Sala, he kind of brushes over like, yeah, anyway.
Yeah, no, they come
Yeah.
back to Sala and he's just like, I was in the middle of something. Anyway.
Sala starts like when Indy does that crazy laugh. Sala starts laughing, even though he doesn't know what he's laughing about. Like he's kind of, I want to laugh too. Hey.
Well, he does have that look on his face, like, what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good one. Okay.
John Rhys Davis is the king. He's the absolute king.
Oh, is he marvelous in this? Have you guys
We were
covered
saying-
that the original intended casting for this role?
Yeah, but you can say it.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
It
don't,
bears repeating.
I don't want to now.
Okay, forget it.
But I will say that his wife Faya is still being played by Rhea Perlman, which is nice. You can see her right there.
You know what? I don't get.
Get the frizzy hair.
There's a weird little when she hands him, I think, the fruit, and Indy and Sala are talking back and forth, and he says, they have a huge excavation or they're digging all over the place, whatever. And the wife looks to Indy and nods. And I'm like, is she nodding like in agreement or accordance with what Sala says? Or she's like, oh no, there's a pear for you. But it's a very specific nod. Like it's a very specific. It's like somebody who, when they direct it, they're like, "Now you're gonna look at Harrison Ford and then nod."
Right.
I think it's more she's like, I'll bring the check or whatever.
Get this jerk out of my house.
Yeah, we talked about this.
So the pear was complimentary. It comes with the check.
It was like a hint.
bring
like,
you a
okay,
pear.
you're done.
Yeah.
This is the after
Okay.
dinner pear.
Like when you flash the lights at 1:30.
You don't have to go home, but you don't have to stay at my house either. So then Indy just takes out the headpiece to the Staff of Ra, which he apparently just had in his pocket this whole time.
Sure.
Is that cool? Is he allowed to do
Where's Mary? Like, what happened to Mary?
know.
Did she just give it to him?
Yeah,
or
she
did he
really
take it?
vanishes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's playing
yes.
with her monkey. I mean, is she cool with like, oh, this was my treasured possession, the one thing of my dad's that I wore around my neck every day? But no, it's cool. Take it.
Or maybe she
As long
doesn't.
as you're good for that $5,000.
Yeah, maybe she doesn't know he has it. Like he seems to be good at walking off with artifacts.
And screwing Marion over. He's awesome at that.
She's like, I'm your goddamn partner. Oh, I'll be over here. Okay.
Yeah, your new
be
dam.
taking notes.
I'm your new dam partner.
I'll be
Yeah,
with
depending on what
kids.
version you watch. I also wonder, as they have that close-up of the headpiece in the foreground, I'm looking for little charred bits of skin that might still be stuck to it.
Yeah,
Do they have to
definitely.
like clean that thing off at all?
Ugh.
Tote?
That thing had an odor. There's no doubt about it. On the
It's like
plane.
burnt Nazi.
Yeah, right.
Oh, let's get into this real quick. What is that bad guy's name? I know it's going to be every minute, right?
You can
Every
save
guest.
it for minutes he's actually in. But
What
no,
is-
that is a. Since you're a true fan of Raiders, yeah. What was the The guy with the hat who gets in the gunfight in the bar with everybody, and he's not thirsty.
Oh, the one who's not thirsty. I see
Right.
what you're saying.
We've had some debate on how his name is pronounced and how we
Well, I
learned
think-
it differently as a kid.
I believe that there was some debate early on how it should be spelled, because it's based on the German word "tot," which means death.
Oh, this guy's good.
Oh my gosh, we just got scooped.
So I think it's pronounced "tot." Now I don't know his first name.
Billy.
Billy Tote.
No, that's yeah.
A Billy Tote.
I have it written on my tote bag.
It's on my bag.
Well, did you ever encounter the taut people that are out there?
The Taut faction.
I was a Todd guy when I was a kid because I didn't know. You see, it's spelled,
Taut.
and you don't never hear it said. So who's to? I don't know.
I don't know that it ever. I mean, I certainly never came to blows with any kids on the playground about it. Pronounce it right.
Well, when you
That was them hitting
actually,
me, by the way.
yeah, you follow it with, well, I believe that's German for death. Yeah.
If you would just get your knee off my chest for long enough for me to explain.
Let me show you what I'm used to. Ouch!
Ouch!
I'm not hitting myself. I'm not.
I'm not running to my mom.
Yeah.
I'm running to the nurse.
So speaking of whom people are named after, have you guys covered the origin of Salah's name?
No.
No.
I don't know how deep I went for this and whether I went to a credible source, but I just read today that Salah's name, and it's a first name. He's got like 16 names with several connecting words in between, but he's presumably named after the 12th century Sultan Saladin,
Oh. Look at him.
who was also
that
the
makes
inventor of salad. Maybe not.
I want to believe that. I'm just
I
gonna
like that.
decide
That
that's true.
Yeah.
And do. But no, presumably that is who he's named after.
That's awesome.
They wanted a name that sounded like Saladin. I don't know if that makes it more authentically, of the place. There are these lines that they put in, like, it is as if the pharaohs have returned, and it's like, that seems falls a little flat. But
he was of Constantinople. Is that right?
Saladin,
Yeah.
I think he was from Egypt and like
I want to say Syria.
Yeah.
All right, fucking edit that out. I'm gonna have to say so it's edited. Now you have to cut
Look,
it out, Tom.
Tom, Gerry, I don't know who said that, but look, let me show you. Neo, meaning here, follow my hand. Okay.
I thought he was from the mines of Moria. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
On my axe. Wait, sorry, what?
What'd you say about your ex? When they're talking about who could translate the markings on the headpiece, the last time I was watching it, I was thinking, oh, do you think in the charred basement of Marion's bar, there's like a notebook fully explaining every aspect of the headpiece? Because Abner did all this work like 20 years ago.
He was the expert on it. It's
He
true.
was.
She didn't save the accompanying piece of, like the cocktail napkin that he kept with it.
Right. Or she used it as a cocktail napkin, and now it's ruined.
Oh, that's possible. That's
Yeah.
true. One of those
She was a
Sherpas just
bartender.
wiped his mouth with it.
But yeah, somewhere Abner's going, guys, I did all this work already.
That's
You
a
don't have to go
good.
see Doug
That's
Henning.
a good point. It's like a veritable Library of Alexandria that
Yeah.
just went up in flames. With
Yeah.
that made me sad. I just got sad.
Oh, that's all right, Gerry. Maybe Abner was horrible, and that's the one thing he actually found was the headpiece to the Staff of Ra.
Well, the
She-
rest of
if
it's
you-
little bits of junk.
I was going to say, you get the sense from the way she talks about it that she didn't keep a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
She just kind of kept I don't know if she thought, oh, this will come in handy later, and I'm going to wear it. because, it's just a throwaway bauble, but I think I'll wear it a lot because it doesn't look heavy at all.
Right,
But this is
very comfortable.
Yeah, I'm sure it's it's got to fit down there in your décolletage really nicely. But you guys probably covered this already, I'm sure.
We touched on it.
The weight of it.
Actually, no, I don't think we did mention it. That it makes. I mean, it might have worked in the 70s as a giant medallion necklace thing, but yeah, I don't see that in the 30s so much.
Like it would have gone well if she was wearing a muumuu, sort of match
Yeah.
game style. Yeah,
Or a gigantic, fuzzy, wide-brimmed hat.
sure.
Yeah. Like
The
Huggy
full
Bear.
Bella Abzug. Yeah, exactly. Oh, like a Huggy Bear. Absolutely.
Or like the Ropers.
Like the Ropers.
Oh, and Audrey Lindley.
Very nice.
Actually, getting back real quick to who he says can help them at the end of this minute, and I just noticed this for the first time, and that's the fun thing about, zeroing in like this is, if you're going to bother to watch something in 1 minute chunks and the very end of the minute is coming up and you think, oh, I got to have something to say, something genuinely odd turned up at the end of this minute, which is Sallah takes the headpiece and he kind of glances at it and he delivers the line, "Perhaps a man I know can help us." And it's clearly dubbed, and you can very clearly see him say, if you read his lips, perhaps Imam is what he says. He doesn't say perhaps a man. It's his mouth makes the complete closure. And then they cut away very quickly to Harrison Ford. Now, the only reason I know this is that I'm a TV editor during the day, and we do a lot of fudging lines and cutting away quickly to cover a fudged line. And so I know when what they call lip flap occurs, which is when an actor's mouth continues to do something you don't want it to do for the Foleyed line. And it's exactly what he does. And he says, he closes his lips and says, "Perhaps Imam." And it turns out the character that they do take the thing to is credited as Imam, but that's not a name. That's sort of a position. That's like saying, perhaps priest can help us. So it's very weird, but he actually does say it. It's as if there was a line there. And if you listen to the audio quality, it is very clearly an ADR replacement. You can just tell his voice is totally different.
I think you're exactly right. I'm watching it as you're saying it. He definitely, that's actually really, really cool.
I guess Indy could play dumb at that point and be like, "Imam, what's that? They call him Imam." And then he can laugh at him.
A ma'am.
Oh, I feel exactly like Salah's kid. It's just those little things picked apart. I'm like, oh, it's overdubbed?
Well, I sort of assumed this whole scene was overdubbed because it's like outside and it's like breezy and stuff, and it, but that line in particular does seem a little more, fixing something than just
it's
like
definitely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cut away fast enough, so you can watch the lips do their thing. This has been Ask an Editor.
The more you know. That's awesome. I know more about the about Raiders of the Lost Ark now. I feel good. Oh. Well, does anybody have anything else for minute 36?
Nope.
Did you guys cover the TV aerials that were removed from the roof in the backdrop?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
That makes me nervous. I was saying I almost can't look at this scene because I'm like, oh, those poor people. They just had they had nothing to do with the movie and they had to take their TV antennas off and like that one shot is all they had to do it for. That drives me nuts for movies. Like, what if this movie had been a failure and nobody ever watched it again? Yeah, all that work for nothing.
It's true.
And there's supposed to be one you can see. I've never stopped to try to find it, but there's supposed to be one aerial that they didn't get. At least that's the urban legend.
There's one guy.
That's the really, really wealthy person in Old Cairo who had the very first TV ever.
Movie man is going to tell me to move it.
Can we end this minute?
Yeah, you feel terrible, Gerry.
I don't like any of this.
Did you know that these are actors, Gerry? John Rhys Davis is like a British gentleman. I feel like we haven't said enough, though. Okay, I need to say this before we there's more of this minute or more of the scene tomorrow, but we were saying during the week-long exposition scene with Porkins and Musgrove, I was saying that's maybe my favorite scene of the movie. And Alex from Star Wars Minute was like, does that mean that we're old, that we love these talky scenes? Because I feel exactly the same way about this scene. I love this scene. When I think... Oh, go ahead.
No, please finish.
When I think about how good this movie is, this might be the first scene that comes to my head. And Salah's sitting here, and it's actually more than next minute, so I won't get into that. But just this scene is cool, and it's not dumb. Like, he says the thing about the pharaohs and stuff, and in the next minute he gets kind of heavy and serious, but there's nothing hokey about it. It's just cool, well done, realistic conversation, and I love it.
Well, and it's the type of scene that would never be done this way today. Like, it's a bridging scene. It's clearly you're giving the audience a chance to take a breath after a big action scene, but it's also a strategy scene. Like, they really do sit here and say, okay, here's what we have on our hands right now, and here's where we need to go next. And the thing that they do in this scene, it's very warm, it's very collegial, it's very light, and it gives you that sense of sort of old friends with very, very little dialogue. It's not like they sit around and say obvious things to each other, like, oh, remember that time when you fell off the edge of the boat? Oh yes, I fell off the edge of the boat.
Remember when you fell in that pit of gun darts?
They don't do that. They don't spell out their friendship. It takes
gives you some credit.
Yeah. I pulled the ears off, indeed. It's super, super light, and they do they do actually provide a certain amount of exposition as to where we're headed next. And then the real capper that would be very different, and this will come up in the next minute. But that's a little tease for just how different this is from later iterations of movies. A light, breezy scene like this that is absolutely effortless between two good actors with well-written dialogue, minus one clunky Pharaoh joke and one laughing too hard at a mispronunciation. It's an awfully nice scene, and it totally holds up. So if that's what being old is, well, I'm glad I'm here.
I'm shaking my cane in victory because I'm old and I enjoy talking scenes in action movies.
I can't lift my cane.
Tough. All right, well, let's wrap this up then so we can get back here tomorrow for minute 37. But Pete, how can people, if they're young enough to work their keyboards, how can they get in touch with us and stuff?
Put up your TV antenna and log on to IndianaJonesMinute.com. If you want to learn who built the pyramids, if you want to find out where Saladin is from, check it out. We'll have something about it.
And if you need help, get your son-in-law over to help you with your computerizing. I don't know. All right. Come back tomorrow for minute 37 of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute. Belloc.
Belloc?
Belloc.
Belloc.
Went there.